Hey you are listening to the Latter-day Ladypreneur podcast. This is Sarah Allred, your host. Dive into a sweet mix of interviews with business gurus, as well as solo episodes with me about the business lessons that have transformed me along this journey, with some sweet connections to Nephi, Esther, and all your other scriptural heroes thrown in the mix. Look, over a year ago, I was paralyzed. Business profits were almost non-existent, and it seemed pointless to keep spending hours on this business of mine when I could have made more at McDonald's. The most painful part, as I felt the hustle of it all, was taking my focus away from those I love most, in my home. So why the paralysis? Why couldn't I just walk away? Look, I knew deep down in my soul that God had called me to do this, to grow a business, to uncover a way to inspire others to do the same. So how could both exist? A thriving business and a thriving home? That's when I met a mentor that opened my eyes to a whole new way of doing business. A system that has brought more money, more time, and more impact into my life in the past 6 months than I've ever had in nearly 10 years of business. This fancy system is called funnels, and I want you on board with me. If your time is feeling crunched, your ideas of how to help more people are slim, or you simply need to stop reinventing your business every single day, you need this fancy and profitable approach to business called funnels. I've packed everything I've learned in the past year that has brought me connections, profitability, a loyal following, but more importantly, the feeling at home I have ached for a decade into my life. You can do it too. It doesn't matter what business you're in. Build your business through the world of funnels in just 45 days with the Funnel Blueprint Challenge at sarahgracelive.com/challenge. Bonus, for a limited time, your seat in the challenge includes a free buddy pass because everyone needs a business buddy. Keep moving forward. Your heavenly parents need you and your gifts, and so does the world. Now, enjoy the podcast. Hey you, this is Sarah Allred with Sarah Grace Live, back on the Latter-day Ladypreneur podcast. So today is a pretty epic day because what in the heck has been going on with the podcast? I have literally not published an episode for like 3 or 4 weeks even, and I'm calling it out. I am calling it out. Why have I been unable to show up on this podcast for the past 3 to 4 weeks? It is all about what we're talking about today. So I'm really excited to dive into this concept, okay? Let me give you a little glimpse into my world right now, okay? Obviously, COVID is going on for nearly everybody, and I never in a million years would have dreamt that in the middle of COVID, my husband would get a phone call from a physicians group here in Logan, Utah, and would interview him and eventually offer him what has been truly our dream job from the very beginning when he started medicine. We always wanted to move back to Logan. Now, as I back up a little bit, we are conquering the topic of waiting today. The purpose of waiting, the dangers of waiting, the spiritual implications of waiting, and what in the heck does this have to do with Greg's dream job here in Logan, Utah, that we are a part of right now? Well, my life has been chucked full to the brim of waiting for certain things. Right? I graduated from BYU in 2006, and I was one of like less than 10% of people there that were married. Okay. I was not married, and it was like this big shock that I was like, oh my gosh, I need to kind of get on this because clearly I'm missing the boat here. Right. So I was waiting for this experience to happen in which I would then become married. Luckily, I met the wonderful Greg and we got married. And so I was no longer waiting for that to happen. But when he decided to go into the field of medicine, little did I know that it would trigger a lifetime of my soul constantly waiting for things. Okay. Big and small. It was always waiting until we got MCAT results. And then it was waiting to see if we got into medical school. And then it was waiting to see if we matched into a residency. And then it was waiting to see if we would get a dream job in Logan right out of residency, which we didn't. So we moved to Phoenix. And I wonder if part of my soul, even there in Phoenix for a year, was waiting for that job in Logan to see if they would ever call and if that would ever happen. Now, you would think that now we're in the dream job space, this would mean we are no longer waiting, right? Like the world has told us you don't need to wait anymore. This is where you've arrived. Well, guess what? I'm now in a state of waiting for a house to be finished. We're building a home and it's been delayed. I guess welcome to the world of building a home. And am I in a state of waiting? Now, I am sure you can look into your life and you can explore avenues in which you feel like you have waited. You have waited to have children. You have waited until a financial situation got better, someone received tenure, or you got your dream job. You have waited for COVID to get over so that your kids can go back to school. You have waited for a time in which your kids are older, so you feel like you have more time or space during the day. You have waited until you've learned enough to actually go into business so that you can be as successful as quickly as possible. There are so many things that we can wait for as women in the gospel. And I thought that this was just a really normal thing. Like, who wouldn't be ready to finish residency? Worst schedule ever, right? Who wouldn't be ready to finish medical school when there's a graduation on the horizon? Like, who wouldn't be waiting? But I guess what happened is I got called out from my own business coach. My own business coach named Katie. She realized through a lot of coaching calls back and forth that one of my biggest issues was waiting for things. And let me give you a really raw example from just the past couple of weeks behind the scenes in my business, right? I have been planning to put together a launch for the past 8 months since January, right? We were going to launch in August and I thought, perfect. We will be in our house by then. I'll have my own space. I'll be able to have my kids back in school. Like, it's all going to line up and be so good. I feel really blessed that for the first time ever in my motherhood, I have found a wonderful nanny that is going to help with my youngest kids for a couple of hours a day so that I can do these trainings and this launch and all these big dreams, right, that are sitting there in my brain, ready to share with my audience and with the world, to teach these entrepreneurs how to go bigger in business to help bless their lives and their families' lives. But here came the problem. We got here in July. Our house was supposed to be done by the end of July. It wasn't done. It was supposed to be done by the first week of August. It wasn't done. We are sitting here in the second week of September, and we are probably at least a month out to being able to move into that home. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Because I have pushed off everything because I am waiting for this house to be done so that I can have this perfect launch, this perfect ABCDEFG experience for my clients and for myself. And what has it led to? It has led to me waiting and also feeling really disappointed. I know as good as anybody else, as I look forward in the calendar, it's probably not going to be the best time for me to try and launch this in November or launch this in December, just because of how the calendar plays with my kind of business. So what does this whole concept of waiting do? What's the problem with it? When is it okay? When do we explore this? So let me dive first into what my coach told me. So my coach is $60,000 a year to work with her. She is unreal. She has changed my life. I thought I hired her for business strategy, and what I really hired her for was to get my mind where it needed to be to produce the business I was dreaming of, right? And Katie sat with me and she said, "You have got to stop waiting." And immediately I go into a slew of excuses and I'm like, Katie, my house is not done. I am living in my mom's basement. My kids are literally living out of a suitcase and one laundry basket full of their toys and books. And it is a disaster, right? I mean, if I were to do a launch right now, my background is going to be the house I grew up in with all of our stuff stacked all over. And she just cuts me off and she's like, "You've got to stop waiting." And so I asked her, I said, why? Why do I have to stop waiting? Like, why can't I wait until my house is done? Because I want it to look like that. I want it to look like that. And she said, it's not that. It's not that I don't want a really polished launch for you. It's not that I don't want you to feel confident and successful and wonderful as you're walking in trying to help those amazing Latter-day Saint entrepreneurs. She said, here's the danger. And if you're going to remember anything from this podcast episode, it is this exact section. The danger in waiting is that the opposite of waiting is presence. Okay? And if that hasn't rocked your world yet, let me go one sentence further. God exists in the present. Okay. So now we come full circle. as I am sitting here waiting and stewing and getting a little irritated and wanting this perfect polished launch to happen, I am literally softening or closing off my ability to connect with deity because I am not present. All I'm doing is waiting. That's the danger. There's an incredible book by Eckhart Tolle, I don't know how to say his name, called The Power of Now. And one of the quotes that he said that has really stuck with me is, realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Man, again, realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. And I think this guy truly understands that the reason that is the moment that we only ever have is because that is where we exist with deity, is in the present. Now, I felt really firmly that I had to jumpstart the podcast season back again with this exact topic, because that is the one thing that will allow you to stay motivated and at peace as a Latter-day Saint entrepreneur, is to exist in the space of deity. Because who's going to confirm to you over and over that you're not crazy for being an entrepreneur and a mom and a Latter-day Saint? It's going to be deity. As much as your neighbor may want to cheer you on, the real peace is going to come with deity. And that's why we have to be able to exist in the present, is so that we can exist in that space of peace. Now, I would go as far as to invite you to never wait. We've heard about this over and over, that the Spirit talks to us when we're in motion. Some of you feel like you hear the Spirit most firmly when you're out running, when you're out cleaning your kitchen, when you're out hiking, when you're weeding. Who knows what it is, but you have found a space in which God speaks to you. And it's often a space that will bring you very, very much in the present. You'll hear your sneakers hitting the pavement. Your hands are dirty in the mud of the earth as you're gardening, or as you're working with your kids, or as you're cooking. You're very much in the present, and that often sparks the beautiful presence of that Spirit in your life. As I sat with my sister, I have a sister who is also an entrepreneur. She is the owner with her husband of Family Tech University. And I sat with her and I said, man, I just wish there is something that I could do to give women the courage to move forward with their desires in business, that they wouldn't feel culturally suffocated, or they wouldn't feel that it was impossible until later. And something she said really brought it home, and I hope that this will resonate with you. If we are prompted to do something, if we don't do it, we can't experience peace. If we are prompted to not do something right now, and we do it anyway, we will not experience peace. And this is exactly what this idea of waiting is all about. Don't wait to start a business if you felt prompted, because you won't feel the peace. Don't try to force a business and a schedule right now that you feel like you need to slow down on, or you will never feel peace. And the only way to exist in that space is to become present. Now, gosh, as we look at the past couple of years, do you feel like that term has been very much coined across the social media sphere? My word of the year is to be present. I wish I could be more present. And man, if you've been an entrepreneur and you've had those days when things are really, really heavy on the business front, and you're sitting there playing little peoples with your kids, and you're not present because all you can think about is the email you need to respond to, and the thing you forgot to schedule, and the client that's disappointed, or whatever is heavy on you, you know what it's like to not be present. And And you can also see what that does to your kids' emotions and to your kids' faces when you are unable to be present. So I'm calling it out. I'm calling it out from the rooftops, most importantly for myself, because I have put off trying to provide an experience for entrepreneurs for far too long because my house isn't done and I'm living in my mom's basement. And I am confirming and committing to you that I am going to be present. I am no longer waiting. No more. And if I'm sitting in a doctor's office, I am no longer waiting. I am listening to a podcast. I am interacting with the people in the room. I am journaling. I am doing something that is allowing me to take full advantage of he and her who exist in the present to help guide and direct us. Will you take that challenge with me? Will you commit with me to be more present? I would hate to look back and think of all those years of medicine, of residency, and of medical school, and of this dream job and our dream house that we're building right now. I would hate to look back and felt like all I did was wished away the days. Wished away what would come in those days. So I am taking that challenge to never wait anymore, because the end goal is peace, and that will only be granted to us if we are living in the present. So I would encourage you, join me. No more waiting, my friend. Now, depending on when you are listening to this podcast or watching this video on YouTube, every couple of weeks, I am offering free trainings to help you stay in the present to get your business built. Nothing outlandish, nothing that costs $10,000, things that you can do day in and day out to get your brain in gear and to get your business in gear so that you can be more alive in the present and you can earn the peace that you so desperately seek for right now. So make sure that you've jumped onto Facebook, find the Sarah Grace Life Facebook group. We chat and do trainings all the time to help us stay on board with the things that we can do to run smart businesses. But more importantly, I am here to just call out the dangers, the spiritual dangers of waiting for what you know you've been called to do. If this resonates with you, I want you to find me on Instagram and I want you to DM me and tell me what you are not going to wait for anymore. And if I can be a help to you of that, I will absolutely step up to the plate and help you in any way I can. Love you all, and welcome back to the Latter Day Ladypreneur podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, I know you would enjoy my course, the Funnel Blueprint Challenge. What in the world do funnels have to do with you thinking bigger as a woman of faith, business, and motherhood? Well, my friend, everything. Funnels are just a fancy word for a brilliant business plan that grants you more money, more free time, and more impact without sacrificing your role as a woman of faith and family. My favorite part about funnels? Well, building a plan that is serving every single customer. Customers who have $0 to spend and those who are ready to invest thousands in you. The Funnel Blueprint Challenge, available at sarahgracelife.com/challenge, is filled with 45 days of step-by-step guidance on starting, growing, and expanding your business right. This is the exact blueprint I use to build funnels for high-end clients. No more shoot from the hip strategies with your marketing idea of the week. Get your funnel built with me in 45 days in the Funnel Blueprint Challenge so that you can share your awesomeness with the world. Let me be awesome at teaching you funnels so that you can be awesome at what you do. Head to sarahgracelive.com/challenge to register. Thanks for listening to the podcast.